time.
Well, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and I asked Georgia Asciutto, my Education Committee Director, to join us. Let me.
Yes, she's here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's
You're
here. Let me just make sure that I unmute her because I've muted everybody. And
maybe I don't understand what we did wrong, but whatever we did wrong, here we are on the phone, so that will be the best. Yeah. And I apologize, but thank you all
Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us. We really appreciate it. So we have a lot of people here today, but only, don't be fearful, only a few of us are going to be speaking.
No problem.
Let me just quickly go over the names of the people who will be speaking today. We have Dr. Rakesh Sridhar here, who is past president of Ekal Vidyalay, which is a very large nonprofit organization serving, creating schools in India that serve the rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
We have Dr. Suresh Khanna, who is with one of the temples here in Westchester, the Durga Temple of Westchester. We have Dr. Shelley Mayer, who is a teacher. She's a research scientist, and she is also with the Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh and the Indian Cultural Association of North America. We have Sumed Deshpande, who is with the Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh. And we have Mr. Arun Bhagirat, who is representing the Hindu Temple of Tri-State. And we have three students here who would like to share some of their experiences, Garv Agarwal, Adya Tiwari, and Soumya Savant. So you'll be hearing from them as well.
Wonderful.
So, without much delay, I'd really like to invite Dr. Rakesh Sridhar to start off.
Good morning, Senator Mayer.
Good morning.
Thank you for listening to us this morning. It's very kind of you to join on a Friday morning. And also thank you for coming to our sun salutation
yes.
function. 2 years ago you came, and we have ongoing every year. We are performing over 1 million sun salutations across the country. You have also been to our flag hoisting and Heritage of India Festival, and obviously you are aware of the Hindu culture. I think we have a common aim to make this world a better, more peaceful place with harmony and understanding amongst people of different religions, faiths, and cultures. And that is basically what the word swastika in Sanskrit means, as opposed to the German Hakenkreuz used by Hitler and his Nazi party. Swastika, as you probably know, is an ancient Sanskrit word from the Vedas, more than 5,000 years old, meaning su-asti, meaning auspiciousness and well-being. Sanskrit was not an official or minor language in any of the European countries, nor is it today. Hitler and his Nazi party, and even in his autobiography, Mein Kampf, does not use the word swastika at all. It's all Hakenkreuz. Somehow, some ignorant individuals translated German into English and translated Hakenkreuz into swastika, whereas the correct translation is hooked cross. All we want is proper interpretation of the two symbols, Hakenkreuz and swastika, and declare these distinct from one another with proper meaning in order to avoid any unintended consequences of the bill for the public at home, for the Hindu, Buddhist, Jain, and Sikh temples, avoid confusion in the minds of our children in and out of school, in and out of temples, our public, in and out of homes, and also avoid spreading unnecessary hatred and bullying. One is the symbol of auspiciousness. The other one, auspiciousness meaning peace, love, and well-being. The other one is a symbol of hatred, bloodshed, and murder. Please let us educate ourselves and let's educate everybody else. It's a good opportunity. And please don't deprive us of a sacred symbol that is integral to our Hindu religion and the precious to our faith. We can go over the bill at the time, at the end, Senator, but that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening to me. Bhavna ji.
Thank you, Rakesh ji. Let me just, okay. So, Senator Mayer, I'm going to go next. You know that I've been a professional social worker for the past 30 plus years and have worked during that time with numerous immigrant children. I am also an immigrant mother myself of 2 children and a grandmother of 3. And I know firsthand how parents struggle with their children to inculcate a sense of pride and grounding in their roots. We know also that the teenage years are formative years where children are searching for self-identity and establishing connections with their peers, and it's extremely important to them. Having a sense of belonging is crucial at this time of development. In the middle of all this awkwardness and questioning of who they are, facing mixed messages where the validity and sanctity of their faith is questioned by mainstream society will lead to confusion and cognitive dissonance at a critical time of youth development. Senator Mayer, I urge you to put on your parent hat, and I believe now a grandparent hat as well, and save our children and parents from inevitable conflicts. Let the sacred symbol that has stood for peace and goodwill for thousands of years all over the world continue to provide solace to families and not disharmony. I request that the swastika be removed from this bill. Thank you. I'd like to,
Next, Bhavnaji.
yeah, I'd like to call upon Dr. Suresh Khanna.
Am I ready?
Hanji.
Can you hear me?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
we can hear you.
Yes. Thank you, Senator Mayer, for giving us the opportunity to express our opinion. And I am representing Ekal Vidyalaya of Hudson Valley chapter and the Durga Temple of Westchester. I'm going to give you some few historical aspects of history of Jews in India. Judaism was the first foreign religion to come to India, recorded in the 4th millennium around the time of Kingdom of Judah. India has been a safe haven for persecuted Jews. It is the only country where Jews were never persecuted. They were freely allowed to practice their religion. Multiple synagogues were built, and not a single synagogue has ever been desecrated or vandalized, except for a terror attack in Mumbai 2008. Interestingly, 10 of the 12 lost tribes of Jews were found in India, and they've been migrated to Israel. Jews have already been respected in our society and they've gained higher positions. Israel has been one of the very trustworthy partners of India. During archaeological excavations, swastika has been the only symbol found in all continents. It has been used as a symbol of good luck in Europe and America till 1930s. As a result of World War II and Holocaust, people in the West associate with this respectable symbol with Nazism and anti-Semitism. Swastika, as we know, is the most sacred symbol among Hindus, Jains, and Buddhists, and we display it on our temples and our door entrances.
You're running out of time, Suresh.
I'm sorry, I'm always finishing. Even in Hindus, in Jains, and Buddhists in Europe are freely allowed to use this symbol. If we pass this bill, it's going to create a great misunderstanding among the communities and disharmony. And because of the COVID, there's already increasing attacks on Asians, and our children are going to be confused and will be subject to discrimination and bullying. Senator, my humble request you to is not to pass this bill, but to educate the children and communities. I thank you for giving us the time.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I interrupt for 1 minute? Georgia, can you call Rachel and ask her to push the next meeting back by a little bit of time? As I don't, there's so many good friends here and people that I want to hear, and I'm getting squished on time on my side. So Georgia, can you do that? Please, I know you're probably muted, but if you would, I would appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator.
Bhavnaji, next.
Yes, I'd like to call upon Arun Bhagirath, who will be representing the Hindu Temple of Tri-State, to go next.
Thank you, Bhavnaji. Good morning, Senator Mayer.
Arunji, 1 minute. Don't forget.
Namaste, everybody. Before we proceed, we always chant the transcendental sound Om 3 times. Om, Om, Om. There are about 1,200 religious centers and 450 temples all over the country. In New York State alone, there are 135 temples plus religious centers. They are growing as the community is growing. Swastika is the spiritual symbol that goes back to thousands of years and has been used as a symbol of good fortune in almost every culture in India. Swastika is inscribed along with our spiritual symbol Om in front of all the temples. Describing this as a hate symbol will be unholy. There have been many instances across the country where Hindu temples, Sikh gurdwaras have been vandalized and priests have been attacked. Categorizing the sacred symbol as a symbol of hate will only lead to more such instances. The temples, they preach spiritually, spiritual knowledge, how to be compassionate, tolerant, and create peace and harmony. So my request is to leave this spiritual symbol alone and not create any controversy. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Jayashree Nair. Let me just spotlight her. Yeah.
Good
Thank
morning,
you, Maya.
Senator
Morning.
Shelley Mayer. As Bhavanaji has explained, I was a research scientist, now I'm an educationist. I see the students every day in their life. There is a lot of confusion already among children in the especially in New York, and we don't want to. We just try to inculcate belongingness, harmony, peace, mutual respect, and compassion among our students. Now that already the teachers are not aware of the swastika, that is the original swastika. Already whenever teachers are teaching, there is a lot of conflict, and in the Bronx area there are a lot of Bangladeshi students. Diversity is the symbol of New York, and as you know, it creates a lot of confusion among children. There is already arguments and statements among the teachers and the students, as teachers are just bystanders. They don't know what to explain to them. Once we just bringing this hate, like the symbol of hatred, but we are looking forward to the harmony and belongingness. And when we are just bringing a symbol of hatred, which is not required, because there is a lot of confusion, we want to educate our children in a positive minded way, so that we can groom a good like future generation. So which is uncalled for actually at this moment of time. Thank you for giving
Thank
me.
you very much. Thank you.
Jayashree, thank you.
Thank you, Jayashree. I'd like to call Mr. Balram Advani to say a few words as well, please.
Bhavna ji, sorry to interrupt, but Sumedh ji is asking to be co-host. He can't speak.
Okay, all right. I'll take care of that in a minute. Yep. One second, Balramji, let me unmute you, please. If you could just unmute yourself.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I was not expected to speak, but I'm a new resident in Westchester and Tarrytown. I have been supportive of all the temples in this tri-state area. And right from the birth, we have heard only two sacred symbols, which is Om symbol and swastika symbol, which you can see right behind Bhavna's background.
Yes.
And under the conditions, that divisive condition that we had for the last 4 years, this bill is only going to add fuel to the fire and create more division and create more confusion in the whole neighborhood. We invite you to come and meet us whenever applicable, whenever convenient to you, and to see how loving Hindu faith is. We are the religion which is very all-inclusive, does not believe in conversion. So I would request to you that please reconsider this bill and actually replace this bill with a bill to say that these symbols are creation of the harmony and love. So it should be the other way around. We should introduce a bill that should educate our society of what swastika really means. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Balaji.
Wonderful, nice.
Our next speaker is Sumedh Deshpande.
Namaste, Senator.
Namaste.
I just want to state a few things about Hindus as immigrants, and most of us are recent immigrants, for that matter, in last couple of decades or so, and we find it a challenge on day-to-day basis to be able to survive in our adopted motherland, and not to say that there are certain challenges, as you may already be aware of, how difficult it is to bring up a new generation in this setting when you're immigrant.
Yes,
Um,
I
so
understand that.
so one contribution, though, since day one, since the first day an immigrant comes to this motherland, is they try to make their children a proud citizen of the motherland. And that's how we want to contribute. And in that contribution, this bill is going to be a big hindrance in that this generation will be confused. And that will definitely hamper a contribution from this generation as well. So most hatred is based on ignorance, but in this case, it will be fueled by education, which is even worse. I just wanted to point that out. Thanks a lot for listening to
Thank you,
us.
thank you, thank you for that.
So
And I
maybe you could
understand that.
introduce our next student speaker, please. And then
Yes. So we have Soumyaji Sawant, then we'll have Garbji Agrawal, and then Adyaji Tiwari in that order.
Namaste everyone, namaste Senator. My name is Soumya. I'm a ninth grader at the White Plains High School. As people my age tend to do, I'm active on social media platforms, with one of them being Instagram. Instagram has many activist accounts which bring positive change and help inform people of the various issues going around in the current world. However, these same platforms can sometimes misinterpret or perpetrate false information. These same media platforms have on multiple occasions written about the swastika, portraying it in a negative light. And due to this, people in my school have started to question my beliefs as a Hindu. Since there's already much negativity and misinformation surrounding the swastika to begin with, my biggest fear is that people will take this bill being passed about the swastika as their own proof that there is something wrong and violent with Hindus, when that's not true. When I've tried to explain to them the difference between the swastika and the Hacken Cruz, I've been met with hostility and resentment. I feel shunned and ostracized in school for this reason because I'm afraid I'm going to be met with hate. It's important to educate people on the difference between the swastika and the Hacken Cruz, and that needs to start with this bill so that people know that these two symbols have two very distinctive meanings and associations. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
thank you, Soumya.
Garb,
Can you hear me?
Garv Agarwal.
yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
All right. So namaste, Senator. My name is Garv Agarwal. I am a 10th grade student at Lakeland High School in Yorktown. Just a quick experience that I've had regarding this. So when we moved into our house in Yorktown, one of the first things that we did was we got a prayer for our new house, right?
Yes,
And so for this prayer, we needed to make swastika marks in the front of our house. And so when new people, like neighbors, came to greet us, they felt a little uncomfortable about our use of the swastika. And because of this, we ultimately felt compelled to take these markings down, right? Even though these were important to our culture, we felt compelled to take them down. I personally believe that the reason why we had to do this was because there's some kind of knowledge gap in like the American education system between swastika as a religious symbol and swastika or like as the Haken Cruz as what was used by the Nazis. And that's why I think that this bill is super important. But I think the nomenclature should be changed to Haken Cruz instead of swastika. There's two reasons for this. Right? One, we actually do get to denounce a symbol that does mean hate, right? The Haken Cruz does show hate like towards an anti-Semitic beliefs, right? And so we do get to denounce that. So that's one good part of doing this. The second part is that similar to how the LGBTQ plus community were able to take back the power of the word queer in the late 1980s, doing this would give like Hindus, Jains, Buddhists, and Sikhs the power to like take back the meaning of that symbol. And I think that's really powerful, and that'll like really give Hindu students at least their identity in our society today. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having the young people's perspective. I see you, Adia, right?
Yes.
Good morning, Senator Mayer, and all the dignitaries present here. Namaste. My name is Adia Tiwari, and I'm a ninth grader at Briarcliff High School. My dream is to become a lawyer or a lawmaker like you when I grow up. Today, I have a story to tell you. A 7-year-old girl received a gift from her grandmother. It was a necklace with a swastika pendant. She happily wore it to elementary school until one day she was told by the school staff to take it off. She was too young to understand why. When she was 10, her parents bought a new car. Her family went to the temple, and the priest put a swastika on the hood as a sign of a good omen. The entire family was happily driving back home until a neighbor warned them to remove the swastika for the safety of the car. She was too young to understand why. When she was 14, in her world history course, her class learned many new things about Hinduism, including some inaccurate information about the swastika. She never knew such things, being raised as a Hindu American. But she was not shocked when her peers started to view her with a certain bias in their mind. This time, she was old enough to understand why. It is very important for all of us to understand that the Hakenkreuz is not the swastika, and the swastika is not the Hakenkreuz. Senator Mayer, that girl is standing in front of you today and is requesting you to please stop this bill, which is just going to miseducate our future generations about the swastika, and it's going to teach children to hate. I plead you to bring a bill that teaches us universal love, peace, and harmony. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We just have one last speaker, and that is Mr. Rajinder Gandhi, who will be representing the Arya Samaj of New York and Westchester. Dr. Rajinder ji, let me see if I can quickly.
I don't see him.
I don't see him.
I think I saw him.
Yeah, I did see him
earlier. He was there earlier.
He was here earlier. Maybe he got. Oh, there he is.
There he is. There he is.
Let me ask the unmute you. Okay. Unmute yourself, Dr. Rajendra ji.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me speak, Senator Mayer. I'm really glad that you are listening to us. And I just wanted to impress what all the people spoke, that I'm speaking the same thing in the Interfaith Center of New York with Rabbi Potasnik and the Rakesh Sridhar from here. And we really need your help. And I'm so glad that you were able to come and see us. Again,
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I say something, Bhavana?
Yes, absolutely, Senator. We'd love to hear from you.
You would like
the first place.
Senator, you want to go over the bill lines or anything like that?
Well, let me say a few things, and then I will. One, yeah. I want to thank Bhavana and everyone who participated for putting this together in such a constructive spirit, because this was not my bill. Just so people understand, this was a bill by Senator Kaminsky, one of my colleagues, based on an incident in his district in Long Island. I did sign on as a co-sponsor, and right away, we heard a great deal from all of the communities represented here today, the Hindu and the Jain, the Buddhist, and we understood that there were things that were not anticipated when the bill was drafted. And so we understood that. But I do want to thank you all for speaking, and particularly for our young people, for bringing it into the current context. Thank you so much for giving your current experience. And as the chair of the Education Committee, I care about what happens to you in school and at home, and I value your immigrant experience particularly, and the fact that you have a faith that you choose to exercise. That's one of the most beautiful things, and we want to support that. As a result of the conversations we had last year, many of which were not constructive, and that's why I want to thank you for being so constructive. We are trying to come up with some amendments to the bill that reflect some of the concerns. And I think Senator Kaminsky has also been having conversations in his community of Long Island, similar to this, to try to find some common ground. And I think one of the concerns is to use the word, and I don't think a decision has been made, Hakenkreuz instead of swastika, as opposed to using both and explaining both. If you don't use the word swastika, as you mentioned, I think Gary or one of the younger people, in common American vernacular, it's been used as an anti-Semitic word, and that's the common knowledge in many communities. And so we have a challenge on our hands to distinguish it from the Hakenkreuz and to give value to a symbol that means peace and harmony in another faith. So one idea would be to reference both and to use the historical fact that the Nazis basically stole a symbol and made it into a symbol of hate and refer to the Hakenkreuz, but it would also use the word swastika. Another possibility would be not to use the word swastika at all, which I think you would prefer, but I think Senator Kaminsky may feel differently, but I am prepared to go back to him based on what you have told me today, that your preference would be that the word not appear at all, and that there be a real effort to educate about the distinguishing facts between these two symbols and the fact that not only do they not look alike, but they historically are very different. So we have heard these comments, and the bill, I think, will be amended at least once to reference these two different ideas. That may not be satisfactory to you, and I appreciate that. And I'm prepared, based on what you are saying, to go back to Senator Kaminsky and see if there's a way to move forward that is closer to what you are asking for. He puts in a bill, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Just so people understand, this bill does not have an assembly counterpart. This bill has not passed the Senate. It has not moved onto my committee agenda. There's a lot of steps along the way. So, and then lastly, just so you understand, the legislature rarely tells what should be in curriculum. That is not something the legislature does as a general rule. That's left up to normally to each Board of Education. So even doing this is a big step forward. On the other hand, we are seeing incidents of both anti-Asian sentiment, and I totally agree that's been disproportionate, particularly during this pandemic, and anti-Semitic acts at the same time across all faiths, increase in hatred, and we're trying to deal with that. So here's what I would like to say is, rather than going through word for word, what is it worthwhile to have a sit down with Senator Kaminsky? I believe in his own community in Nassau and Suffolk. He's had several meetings of others like you who are his friends and supporters and colleagues. And, you know, Bhavana and I, we've worked on many things together. Many of you here, I've either visited or I look forward to visiting, and I feel very comfortable and being among friends. So what I would suggest I would like to do is go back to Senator Kaminsky, say we had this very constructive conversation. Your overall request is to remove the word swastika altogether, I take it, from the bill, and to have a more robust conversation in curriculum about how this symbol was basically stolen, but it has meaning in your faith and you don't want that taken away. So I'm not meaning to cut you off. I'm just saying that's what I'm taking away, Bhavana, from this conversation. I think that's what your goal is.
Yes.
And I will be happy to go back to Senator Kaminsky and reflect that we've had this conversation, and to take to heart, again, not to take away from our seniors here and people my age, but I have special feeling for you young people struggling with trying to have your faith in a place where there's pushback against displaying the symbols of your own faith. That's very troublesome to me. And I appreciate you telling that story.
Senator, can I just make one little point?
Yeah, sure.
This is Rakesh Sridhar again. The Nazi Party never used swastika. Hitler, even in Mein Kampf, does not ever mention swastika. All he mentions is Hakenkreuz. So this was later on misinterpreted or stolen for some vested interests, which we don't even know. But as of that Nazi Party, Hitler, swastika was never used. It was never a term. And this, unfortunately, has come to be misinterpreted and misrepresented. So Nazis never used swastika. That's
okay. I understand they didn't use it, but over time, in American culture, in American mainstream culture, which, you know, has many things that are not so great about it, one of them is this word has taken on its own meaning. And we are struggling with that and trying to find a way. That's a very good point. And I appreciate that, Mr. Sridhar. I will take that to heart in the way I talk about it, because they didn't use the word, I understand. But I think if you would give me the opportunity to go back to Senator Kaminsky, reflect that we have this conversation. You know, one thing I would ask is that all of you, and maybe you could just, Ivana, make sure that you have a list of all of you who participated today, so that I could show him the breadth of both the faiths represented here, ages, and continue. I will not going to promise what is going to happen. It's not my way. I am going to take to heart what you said, and I'm going to discuss it with Senator Kaminsky, and I will get back to you, Pavana, if you can be the contact person about sort of what the thinking is about how to move forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Senator. And we really appreciate your willingness to meet with us, first of all, and also to listen and take this message back and to continue this conversation with your co-senators. And we look forward to working with you. And if anytime you have questions, I'll certainly send you the list of everybody who was here today. As you can see, we have more than 52 people here at this meeting today. And that was because I had to stop people from wanting to come. So out of respect for your time, and we all know how busy your schedule is. So thank you again very much on behalf of everybody here today. And we look forward to this conversation continuing, and our ability to work together to address this issue to the satisfaction of everybody.
I just want to say, I saw Rita. Where's Rita in this picture? Rita Dave. Because there you are. We worked together many years ago. It's a pleasure to see you. Thank you for joining today. We were in the Senate together many years ago as staff people. I do appreciate, and I take to heart what you have said today. I hear you. Again, I'm particularly moved by our young people, and Georgia Shudo, who's here, is my committee director, and we will. I will follow up with Senator Kaminsky, and then I will get back to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senator,
Thank
for
you
giving
all.
us the
Thank you
time.
all.
Thank you.
All.
Good to
Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Thank you.